Welcome back to Dynamic Character Productions. We've got another exit interview, an unplanned exit interview due to dog-related things. We have Lo with us. How are you doing, Lo?
I would be better if I had Willie with me. I was ready. I was trying to get home in time so he could make a guest appearance, but
Mhm.
I'm doing great. I'm sad to have left in Gwazu Falls, but I'm happy to be here with you all.
Yes. All right. And as always, Alex and Lily are here with me. What's going on?
Not much. How y'all doing?
Hey, I'm ready to hear more about Lo, the robbed queen of doggy daycare.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, to get right into it, Lo, this was your first kind of online game. So what surprised you the most while playing it or maybe even watching it back?
Well, I think to state the obvious was how long it took to actually do this. I don't know, McKenna, if you remember, but I think I messaged like the day before. I was like, about how long is this mini? Because I was trying to figure
We
out
were
what
trying to reduce it. We try
We
our
tried.
best, but when
it just
everyone's like
happened.
40 minutes on a puzzle.
I know. It's
No.
like you can't tell how long things are gonna take. So I didn't know that. And so I'm so glad that I did do it and it was so much fun, but I did not anticipate I've worked from home before, but
Mhm.
like being on a computer for that long takes a lot out of you. And I said my brains were pretty scrambled, some scrambled egg
Mhm.
brains, but it really your body gets tired, your brain hurts, you like just don't want to talk anymore because you're talking so much. So it's a very exert nothing compared to the real Survivor. I'm not gonna compare it to that, but it is a whole different type of outlast that you have to do on Zoom.
Yeah,
For sure.
100%. And we were lucky to get you from the Bad Bitch Book Club. So you were actually our fifth person from DCP to
But
have
first
a
mini.
yes, first
Oh, yay!
mini. And what is everyone of the book club has made the merge, which is pretty big. And the lowest place is ninth place from a Bad Bitch book member. And so we've talked about it a little bit like on exits of previous members, but why do you think that us book members do decently well at these games?
Well, it's interesting because I'm actually really not a huge active member on Bad Bitch Book Club, but what I love about it is the one commonality that we all have is that we like books. We like talking about books. And I think the same goes for DCP and all these orgs is you might not know any of these people or have anything in common other than you enjoy either playing a game and strategizing or Survivor itself. And so just that one commonality, you're able to tap into I think just like the humanity of the game and just what it means to get to know a person. And it's nothing, well, you try not to make it personal, but you do get personal with people. And so I think that's what, we all came to have fun. And I think that's the main goal. And just like it is with Bad Bitch Book Club, like you really are there to have fun, have a good time, be respectful of people. And yeah, make some friends along the way.
Yeah. I love it. I think that's completely, spot on. I think also like being open to a virtual format also helps, even if you are not comfortable or do not work in the virtual realm. Having joined a community already doing it, I think helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a little representation. To touch on pre-merge quickly, you seem to struggle with the first vote after the tribe swap. You don't want to vote out really anyone, it seems like, and you struggle between voting for Lydia or Jonathan. Talk us through why you land your vote on Lydia in the end.
Yeah, I would say this was the hardest vote for me. And because the swap, the number breakdown was so tricky with the swap, I really had to think about, you know, who the original tribes were and what the numbers we had versus the other team had. What I didn't factor into was Sarah joining the losing tribe. And so logistically, it would have made sense to put my votes on Lex, just so that those numbers would minimize compared to the other to my original tribe. And I think it was the pink tribe. I can't remember their names, but no, why was pink? I don't remember. Whatever the other tribe was. I'm gonna anyway. But what was not, I don't think made the edit was when I was talking with Lydia, that was when it came out that Luke had played a previous org. And what had happened after the Mike exit, after the first tribal, we all got into our room together as a tribe and kind of debrief, and we were like, oh my God, we had no idea he played in another org. Has anyone else played in an org before? And Emily said she had played a couple. Jonathan shared that his partner had done, or he's only been on production before, but Luke had said he hadn't played. And I said, this was my first game. And so we took that at face value. And during this swap scrambling that happened, Lydia had shared that Luke had joined another or had done an org previously. And so that was kind of why, and I there's an edit where my wheels are turning about Jonathan, like not this round, maybe the next round. Cause really I was seeing like, do we want to do Luke or Jonathan? I don't know, but that's kind of where the tide started to turn for me on the original tribe and who could I see myself working with. But at that vote, the only numbers I could see were for Lydia, because otherwise it would have been a 3-3 split with Lex, Jonathan and Luke putting their votes on Lydia if I had voted with the girls. But I would have loved to start strong with a female alliance there with that vote. And it was just the wrong foot at the wrong time, I think.
Mm-hmm. And that explains a little bit because we are missing that scene in the episodes. And so when we get to the merge and right after it goes straight to you being like, all right, I'm good with Luke. Right. And so we don't see that a lot because a lot of people at the merge, A, don't want to throw out a name to put a target on their back, but also B, not somebody that they're closely aligned with. So was it really this aspect of you couldn't trust Luke? And is that how you kind of worked throughout the game, trying to keep people in that you thought you could trust?
Yeah, I think trust plays a huge part, especially being a newbie. Like I, there's a lot of things I would do differently, but I think one of them would be to not necessarily be as trusting as I was, because I do think that came back to bite me in taking face value for what a lot of people were saying. I think by the time we finish, by the time I make it as a juror to final tribal council, I can see a little bit of that. But at the time, also at the merge, I think our original tribe was threatened because we had 3 and Emily had been on the other tribe. So I saw that as like, oh, maybe they're thinking us as a group. But I had heard rumblings of wanting to vote out Luke the previous vote. So that was probably one of the more strategic moves on my end, to try to put the name out there first rather than people trying to get me on board with it, because automatically it showed that I was okay with that. And, I think that was an effort of good faith, one that I didn't like doing. It was shady. It looked really shady because, you don't really see the context of it, but ultimately I think that helped me stay in as long as I did, because they saw the other players were willing to, or see that I was willing to play with them and what their game was too, and not just have my own agenda.
Yeah, because a big theme in what kind of comes later on after this episode soon is this thing of duos, and it's really everyone around you. There's Jon and Austin, and then Sarah's involved in that, and Lydia and Vee, and I think removing Luke kind of removes any idea of you being in a duo. So how did you navigate that kind of topic? It seemed for about 2 rounds of trying to get out duos. What were you thinking through all of that?
Yeah, not gonna lie, I was a little jealous. No one was bringing up my name in a duo. But
You and Lex kept it hidden.
I know. So that was the thing. And I think these edits show we had a corgi parent bond real early, real quick. And we were like just in cahoots the whole time ever since that tribe swap. And so I think the one name I never really thought I would write down until I needed to, which I think if I had gone farther might have been the case, would have been Lex's name. I think a duo that I didn't or maybe I did intentionally keep. I can't remember. I couldn't tell you. But also with Emily, like we never actually got to reconnect after the swap, but I was trying to hear what she was saying and where she was going and follow her lead as well, because I think between the two of them, I had a good pulse on what was happening. And I think almost every vote, was either with one of them when I was moving forward. So I think because we were never in a breakout room together, just the two of us, that's why we were never perceived as a duo. So I think that's how we got away with it.
Yeah, you were so hidden as a duo. You guys go out and they took out a duo without ever realizing it.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. Look at that 1-2 hit.
And something that like I noticed while watching the breakout rooms and stuff like that is no matter what side, the Lydia and Vee side or the Austin, Jon, Sarah, Lex, they were all including you in on what the vote was, which I thought that was amazing because you had been not voting, but they always thought that you could be the vote to like, maybe let's swing low. Maybe let's swing low. We could try and swing low.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, I feel like I missed out on these conversations. I thought, I don't think any of, well, you know, going back, I probably could find, you know, who told me where to vote who, but other than putting out Luke's name, I don't think I put a name out there after the merge. And so somehow names were brought to me and I don't remember how or which side it was, but I don't remember flipping very much after I got a name. So it was really kind of the first person to come to me with a name, with a logical reason and with the numbers. That was the way I voted.
Was there anybody like post-merge, maybe somebody you had worked with or, you know, we're just meeting up for the first time? Was there anybody where you were like, oh yeah, we are not on the same path? Or maybe the opposite, somebody you hadn't met with and been like, if only we had caught each other earlier.
Oh, I think about this all the time. I think Sarah and I could have been like a rock star, like very on the lowdown, but that one breakout room with Lex in that last episode was the first time I was in a breakout room with her. I felt like so I really and we weren't, you know, and that was me exiting. So I didn't really get a chance to know her as a player. I didn't know what her strategy was. I didn't even know, like I knew she was part of the Tugela 4, but I didn't know who she was siding with or what that looked like. So I think that was my biggest what if I had gotten to know Sarah, you know, like what if we had lost the swap immunity and she had come and joined our tribe, what would have happened then? So I think that's the biggest like wish I could have played with. As far as like didn't or like incompatible different paths, I think the only one I can think of maybe would be Austin of who was there after the merge, because again, couldn't get a read on him. I feel like every time I saw him, he was with someone from his original tribe. And so it didn't feel like a safe space, so to speak, to like start talking game, because it would always be the two or like three original Tugela members together. So I think that's the only one where I was trying to like distance myself, and partly why I picked him too was to show like I'm not scared of you, but I also don't know what I'm doing. Like don't pick on me.
He was intimidated when you picked him. He was just like,
Yeah, I didn't really have a strategy there other than if it was, I think who was left, Lex, and so yeah, I didn't want to give away that duo. So
that makes sense. Well, and so I think you and Sarah played a very similar game in the fact that you're very under the radar, but have these good connections that no one's picking up on. Did you think that was how you were going to play the game coming in, or did it kind of develop in a way?
I think when I think about like what my mindset was when I came in, I didn't necessarily want to play a loyal game, but I did want to play a truthful game. And so I didn't want to guarantee, and you know, looking at how other games were played, like I really respect Ben's gameplay of like, I will not write your name down this vote. That doesn't mean moving forward. That was not something that was in my language. And so that was why I was so awkward at the Luke vote, because I was like, I'm not going to tell him I'm not going to be in the 4 with him, and Luke and the ladies is not you know, like that was why I couldn't
that was
say
hilarious.
that.
Luke and the
I was
ladies
just sitting there like Yeah. So, I never and I think the exception to that was the when I did vote for Lydia those 2 times, I didn't have the opportunity once her name, because it came out so late in both of those votes that was who we were putting the votes on. I didn't have the opportunity to connect with her to actually clarify where I was going and what that purpose was. So I think that was the untruthful side of it, but I think that was my goal, was to be as truthful as I could be for the game.
Mm-hmm. And we see Lydia is kind of like an individual powerhouse in terms of like an idol beast, right? Which is something I feel like for newbies, at least in my first game, I was not aware of, like, yep, over the head, especially in these quick games.
Yeah.
So when you see Lydia, you hear about her first idol and you hear about her second. As a newbie, are you more so we got to get her out, or I need her to tell me what she's doing so I can get the next one?
Well, you say that, and I think at the time I was like, I got to get on her good side because I can't like be the name that she throws out when she uses an immunity idol. But watching it back, like, I have mad respect for how like on lock she had those idols, because she didn't tell anybody, and I would have been just talking away like, here's what I have, maybe not to everyone, maybe to my core or whoever it was at the time, but like the fact that no one knew that she had these is just so incredible. And so like that was really cool to see at playing it back. But in the moment when she played them, I was just like,
and then, while everyone's sad, like, oh, Lowe's leaving, she's just typing to me, like, can I have my third idol, please?
So, I mean, speaking of, I completely missed that immunity challenge and the 3-minute scramble. Like, I was there for maybe the last 30 seconds of it because I was going to get Willie, which I got there 5 minutes before they shut the door. Who knows what they would have done with him. But and so I was so confused, and I was like, oh, actually maybe I got there in time for the votes, because I was like, why does Lydia's vote not count? And so I missed the whole idol play, and I was out of it.
So Ponderosa, you had to get the
I was like, can someone please tell me what just happened? But then Luke came in, or Lex came in all fired up. So got a lot.
That'll do it. Yep. Well, and to kind of go off of what McKenna was saying, where a lot of people wanted to use you in votes, which kind of ends up no one's talking about voting you. And really, the first time we kind of hear your name is when you graciously step down. What do you think if, let's say, Willie had a couple more hours left at daycare? Do you think you would have gotten maybe 2 steps more? Were you thinking I can get to final tribal at any point during this game?
At no point did I think I was gonna I'm being honest. Like, I had 2 like big lofty goals coming into this as a newbie: make the merge, win an immunity. That's it. Like, and it could have been a tribal immunity, it could have been an individual. So to do both of those things, I'm like, great, I filled my cup. And then we kept playing, and I was like, my name's not out, or at least no one's telling me that my name is out there, which also makes you nervous. Not great for my anxiety. But like, I was actually glad to see in the last 2 episodes ago that my name was put out there, because I was like, am I going crazy? Are they just like forgetting that I'm in this game?
But really, like, that was maybe the first time you've only come up as, Lowe's a threat, but let's work with her. Like, that's the only time your name is ever brought up, is
Right.
like, you're a threat, but
that's fascinating to me because I don't understand that.
Playing such a great game, but
it was a lot of like, and we see in later episodes, like from Lydia and Sarah, like, I can't get a read on her, but then they would go to you like, let's work together.
Yeah. And I mean, I felt the same way. And I think with the mini, and what was great is the time that we had to bond, you really did bond with your first tribe, but then there really wasn't much time to bond after maybe the vote after the swap. And so, Vee, Lydia, and Lex had this great bond over sign language, and it was so beautiful to watch and to be part of, but to not be able to contribute to that, I think, didn't benefit my game and that personal connection with them. Had we had more time together, we might have been able to talk about all these other things that we now know we have in common, but we didn't have that time because we only had that one resting period while the other team was voting. So yeah, the format plays a big role in that, but it is definitely about connections. I think that's how you are able, and, watching other gameplay and seeing how other people are playing and if that works for your game. So, but yeah, as far as the voting goes and how the vote goes, I didn't think I would make it to final tribal. I think if I could have stayed longer, I don't know. The round after me was dicey. I don't know how that would have gone. They might have just said, "Let's not loud." No one's
I don't think you would have ever come up. You would have been like Vee, Sarah, or Jon. Like,
I watched that. I said I would have never said a word, and like I just.
No, I think ultimately, let's say either Lydia or Vee go, and you stay there. Lydia either plays her idol successfully and someone else goes. It wasn't going to be Lex. It may have been you, but only if it was a successful play and they didn't throw all the votes on Vee. Right. So let's say Lydia goes. Emily wins. Emily's still going to say Lex, I think. Yeah. Because she wants the person who's going to be more bombastic. Yeah. About and react and spend more time reacting than saying, well, why? And prodding the question there. I think you would have been fine.
Yeah, I think, had exactly what you're saying, Alex. Like, I think if it came to that round and Lex was still there, I think the target might still have been on him. He might have, but also there was talks before I was stepping out of him being the next vote because he had immunity the vote before, so he could have been that set, or I guess the seventh vote at whatever spot is, and then we would have been in that scramble one more time, and then I think I could have been in jeopardy if Lex had gotten voted out before me. But I think if Lex was still in that round, I would stick around and then hopefully make it maybe 2 or 3 more.
Which brings up another question, and it's something that you picked up on as a new player that I was very impressed by. Was in a mini, challenges do somewhat matter more just because it's more in your face about it because of how fast it goes, and you obviously win the individual tribal immunity, and then you win another competition, or you're playing very close, but then suddenly you say as you're going into the merge, I need to pull back a little. Maybe I can go far, but I cannot be winning, because if I keep winning, this is what was getting other people targeted. This is what got Ben targeted. And do you think maybe you coming back and then suddenly you have a Jon winning immunity and a Lex winning immunity, suddenly they're the people being talked about and not you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I got the unofficial viewers on, tagged me for this, of saying I got to pull back, and then I throw Luke's name out there.
I am going to say that is my fault. You said that about the Jonathan boot, so I will take full credit of throwing that at the beginning of a vote that you.
No, but it was fine because honestly, I think that was still my mindset because I had no concept of when the merge was happening. So I think that was true up until I knew that the point a merge was coming, and then that's out the window. My thought is going strong in the merge, kind of how I did it, either put a name out there or campaign really hard for a name. Yeah. But because then you can establish yourself and then pull back. That was kind of my goal if I made merge. But as far as immunity goes, like you said, Alex, it was in front of everyone. So everyone saw me win that, which made me nervous. So when it did come to merge time, I didn't want to be the first or even the second person to win immunity or even come close, because of all of the immunity beasts that were out there were getting voted off. I mean, I was the first one to throw Mike's name out there because he looked like he did a good job. So, I was that person, and I knew it would happen. So I think it was probably the coconut chop was the first one that I started to actually start to play again. And the last immunity challenge that I was in was when I was oh, if I could win this, maybe I can get a breather, go get Willie on my phone, and then keep playing. So it was one of those.
What if?
If only he hadn't taken off his brakes.
I know. So, and Jon rightfully so was like, I do think it was helpful for a lot of people moving, like what their game looked like moving forward. But yeah, I did feel bad for Jon because he had one in immunity, but didn't need protection for anything in that vote. So, but that was, I did try in that one. I wanted to try to get immunity there.
Well, and we hear in that episode, or maybe the one right before you go out, Sarah is in the talks or wants to make a girls' alliance. And what is, again, rare for this episode is no woman has been voted out at this point. It's all men, which love to see. But if Sarah had come to you and said, let's get Jon and Lex out, and then us 5 girls can duke it out, do you then throw Lex out the window, or do you tell him?
I think that would have been the only move that I would have started to see another option than having Lex as my duo. I was like, this is kind of like a cookout vibe. Like, what if we had gotten the girls together and we all had a male shield and we're able to just make it the final 5 all women? Who knows? Maybe that could have been a thing. But yeah, so I think that would have, and that proposition never came to me. I think I might have had some rumblings with Vee and Lydia about it, and but it never cohesively came back together with Emily and Sarah. And so I think I had put it on the back burner by the time that second or third merge vote came around.
I think you guys kind of did it without realizing you did it anyways. So
unofficially.
Yeah, it was an unofficial alliance that was gone too soon.
I mean, not without Lydia having to play 2 idols, but
yeah,
that's what I mean is had we made it official, I think I would have rallied behind getting another name out there, or at least letting Lydia know your name is out there. Because at no point did I go to her and say that, but that's because we didn't have an official working relationship in the game together.
It honestly would have been more hilarious if it was a working practice and you would keep going to her and be like, hey, all the votes on you. Pick any random guy you want. It was just every single time she'd be like, hey, I got an idol.
Hilarious.
Yeah, that could have been an idol.
Okay. We're taking Lex out tonight. Then we're gonna take out Jon, and then we're gonna take out Luke.
One of the girls just keeps having the idol, then you're
and Sarah had that nullifier. We could have figured out got an idol if someone else got one and had her play that.
Would have been a powerhouse.
Could have, should have.
I'd stand.
Well, my last question before Facebook, or if the other 2 hosts have any, if the cast of Trinity Falls was thrown into a book plot, what would the theme or the genre of the book look like?
Oh man. My immediate thought that came to mind, it's some murder mystery. I don't know, but murders in the building type murder mystery. We're just a comedic crew, and there's so many personalities. It definitely would be something like we're all on some vacation, some exotic vacation resort, and there's some kind of murder, and
it would be hilarious. Lex is the killer and he's like, someone died? What?
There's a murder?
No. But does somebody from Trinity Falls die, or is it?
I don't know if it would be someone from. I think it would be we're all in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Okay.
Well,
I like it.
Well, if you were the Selena Gomez of that crew, who are your left and right hand people?
Are we talking Selena Gomez here?
Right, that's just went off. No, oh, that's a good question. I think Ben would definitely be one of my fellow detectives, just for comedic purposes. And I think Jonathan, I just love Jonathan's humor. I think that would be a fun random.
Right, let's make it happen. I'll start writing.
We'll contact Hulu immediately for the
I feel
rewrite.
It's just 3 random people thrown together having something.
I do have one question before Facebook. Since you've played the majority of the challenges, what was your favorite one?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Or favorites, if you have.
I think the one that I won was actually my favorite because that was really the only like physical one that we did, and I was anticipating having more physical ones.
Yeah.
And so I liked that one. And then, but actually the one that I didn't get to play, this most recent one, the card shuffling one, I would have loved, I think, just the fast paced of it. And like, so I didn't get to play that one, but I think I really would have liked that one.
Now, would you have caught on to there's gotta be something else after this card sorting? Because we hear Sarah say, this is too easy. Like, she feels like there's something there. Would you have thought that?
Nope. I played the most oblivious game, I think, of anybody, if I'm being honest. I would have even heard that comment.
Love that. All right, we can head to Facebook.
Okay, well, first question is from Lydia. Lo, it's no secret that this whole cast thought you had a solid chance at winning the game, if not for this unfortunate timing. Right. Who would you have wanted to be at the end with you?
Oh, that's a great question. And so from who's left, right? Like by the time
by the time you leave, so the 6 other people.
Yeah. So I think I would want Lex there in the end because I think he played a messy enough game that not enough jury members would vote for him, and I would have a chance. And then I think I would take Emily just because from my perspective at the time, didn't see her connecting with multiple people, kind of almost similar to me, was floating. So I think it would have been a fighting chance between me and Emily. So I think that's who I would want for my final 3.
I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I'm all for it. Next question is from Austin. As a fellow newbie to the orc community, I thought you played a fantastic game and was really sad to see you go. What was your overall strategy going into your first game? If you were to play again, would you try to play similarly, seeing that it seemed to be working, or would you try to mix it up?
Well, I think we talked about, like, I think the idea of being trusting was part of that. But if I were to change anything, I think I would spend more time getting to know people, because at no point really after the swap was that a priority for me, because it was just game. And I like saw how quick things were going. But that I think is what lasted for everyone else who's still in the game is the personal connections that they did make. And so one of my favorite moments from pre-merge was Jonathan is on a call with us and goes, I can't, like, let's get to know each other more, and just gets pulled into a breakout room for an interview as he drops that. And we just are cracking up and like we bond over that. But he was onto something. Like, getting to know people is, I think, how you stay in the game, because once you have that personal connection, it's harder to vote out in such a short game like this.
Right. Next question is from Nick Cannon, not that one who has like the 10 children now, or expecting, but from Monte Carlo. Watch Monte Carlo, everyone. But Lo, what's your favorite book you're reading right now?
Oh, we just started back to school, so I'm not reading as much as I have been, but of the books that I have open, Touch of Darkness is one that I'm reading. It's a Hades Persephone dark romance that's been a good Kindle read. So check it out.
Our next question is from Greg. Lo, what was your most significant relationship in the game?
Well, I think the most hidden relationship in the game was Lex. But I think the most significant was actually with Emily. We had kind of like this unspoken bond, I want to say, because I don't think I ever put her name out there, and I never heard her really put my name out there except for maybe in conversation. And so it was one of those things where I think she knew what I was doing at the merge, or excuse me, at the swap when I pulled Lee, and I was like, I can't have Emily come over here because she'll be the next vote. It's like an easy vote on her, but she can try to navigate the numbers over there, which is exactly what she did. And so I think that unspoken communication between the two of us kind of helped solidify that bond that we had throughout the game.
And it was felt definitely in the episodes. You have the initial, like, I want to get back with Lo, I want to get back with Emily. And then you were both in like the same groups, but never like one-on-one. All right, Lo, all right, Emily, let's like dissect everything. But there was always we know they're together, but not together.
Right. So I think that I think that's the most significant one that I had, because it wasn't necessarily explicit or obvious, but it was helpful for my game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Our next question is from Ben. If you could change one thing about your already strong game to make it stronger, what would it be? And you can't pick anything to do with doggy daycare.
Dang it. Oh, to make it stronger. I
More
think
puzzles.
yeah, more puzzles. Come on, Prod, help me out here. No, I think it would have been. That's a good question. Actually, being less oblivious, trying to look for idols. Like it really never occurred to me that things would be on Zoom an idol play. Like I don't know where I would have thought they were happening, but I was literally dumbfounded every time I heard an idol was played, because I was like, in what, like, how do you find those things? So I think had I been more perceptive, I would have had a stronger game, because then at least I would have known they were out there, because at no point did I suggest maybe I did one or two times, but like, should we split the vote? Did someone have an idol? Like,
it was only after the idol play where you
exactly
suggested like, who's the other name we're putting out?
Right. And no one thought that was a good idea, but but had I been aware of that, I think that first time, especially that Lydia played her idol, we could have done a 2-2-2, and then, but I don't know if people would have been on board for that. So anyway, being aware of idols probably would have helped my game be stronger.
Okay. Well, being aware of things, it works out perfectly for this next question. McKenna Inglis asks, if you could select 3 people from Trinity Falls to do an escape room with, who would you pick?
I love escape rooms. Escape rooms are my favorite thing. I really do. Like anyway. So I have to tag my fellow puzzle beast of Austin. You know, he talks so much about his unscrewable abilities. I think that you know, in the escape rooms that I've done, that would be very handy. And I think he's actually, and I would pick Jon because of his perception. Like I loved seeing Jon's confessionals and even him in different rooms, because the things he caught on to were so minute and so specific, but right on the money. So I think that would be really helpful. And then I got to tag in Luke, because his math skills are just top notch. So if there's any like luck combos or like having to solve for a number, he's our guy.
Love it.
Great.
Next question is from the co-host of the unofficial official VL, Victoria. Lo, congratulations on doing so well in your first game. Would you consider playing a long game? And which format do you think you would do better at?
Do it, Lo. You'd kill it. Do it.
Y'all. I have too much going on in my life to do a long game, because I will literally obsess over it, and I don't know how healthy that is for me. I do think I would have fun. I don't know if my anxiety would love me for it, and I don't know that my professional life might severely lack, but I would try it. I don't know if I would do as well in a long game as I would.
You'd do better, because Willie wouldn't need you.
You're right. I wouldn't get kneecapped by my dog. No, but like, so part of it too is, and like online like conversations and online conversations, I'm not great at. Like, I'm more of an in-person or even like a Zoom to Zoom face kind of thing. And so depending on what the format is, if it's mostly like a chat based one, I don't I don't communicate well in chat. I know that's not one of my strengths. And so I don't know if that would help my game so much as this format did in a mini of not being able to chat, of only having face-to-face interactions.
Well, here at DCP, we always encourage Zooming. So next long game we have, love, we'll slide you the application.
Okay, great. As long as I'm on the fan favorites team.
Yes.
Not the villain.
Oh, you're
that
not
could be
a villain
Willie.
at all.
Willie can be on the villains too.
Yeah.
Blood versus water, you and Willie.
The next question's from Carrie. We heard Emily compare you to Mrs. Incredible. Do you have a favorite superhero?
That reference was so funny to me, and I have no idea why. Like, I love this Incredible. Does Black Panther count?
Yeah.
Wakanda Forever. I love. Yeah. Go.
Okay.
Love it. Last questions from Kylie. Outside of your phenomenal gameplay, my favorite thing about you this season was how many different hairstyles you rocked. Which one is your favorite?
Every challenge, new hair.
Glasses on, glasses off.
Glasses,
we don't know.
Falling off my face.
I was gonna say glasses falling off.
Either they're on top of your head, on you,
Hot Mess
off
Express.
completely.
Hot Mess Express. I of the game, the ones that you saw in the game, the top knot is my favorite. So I'm a mini bun on the head gal. That's
awesome. Well, that wraps up our Facebook questions, Lily.
Yeah, so we always like to ask at the end of every exit, if you could sum up your game in one word, what would it be and why?
I had to think about. I planned for this one because I was like, I'm not going to be caught flat-footed. I think up until this point, up until this round, I would say, my word would be diplomatic.
I like it.
Don't know
After
if I would
this round, it's Willie.
Yeah.
Sum it up in one word.
Well, I'm glad you didn't leave us flat-footed. You would needed your tennis shoes before competing in that.
For the record, I do have arthritis.
Our instructors, once again, we love them.
No, for the record, I do have arthritis in my feet, so I do have feet issues.
Oh no, yeah, I believe you.
Good thing you did that advantage then.
I'm just setting the record straight.
Yeah. Well, Lo, thank you so much for letting us be your first game. We are very excited to have you in another successful member of the Bad Bitch Book Club. Another successful season from them. We appreciated just your energy in this cast. It was very infectious. It was very positive. I think it was something that was very needed for a season, especially a mini season like this. So we thank you so much. But that wraps up this exit interview. So make sure you press that like button, press subscribe, and press that bell for all notifications when you know new Trinity Falls content drops or new season content drops. Also follow all of our social media. You'll see all those at the end of the video. Join our Facebook page. That's where you can get updates on the season. You could play in our fantasy games that we do at the beginning of the season, as well as ask questions in the exit interviews for all of the exits. But with that, this has been Dynamic Character Productions, and we'll see you next time.